long-standing out of
Another
division
devastating
rivalry.
matchup among Titans.
Baltimore heads to Foxborough, as they've done plenty of times before, take on the Patriots. The Patriots, as it stands right now, 7-point favorites. Ravens, one of the hottest teams in the league, but it's one of those things where we talked about the Giants last week. Who have you beat? The list isn't very imposing.
I do think their last win was the biggest of their
I agree.
season.
Yeah, I
the
agree.
way they did it,
perfect time, too, obviously.
I thought that was a really good matchup for them. And I'll start this one off. I don't think it's a terrible matchup this week either. I'm actually taking the Ravens and the points here, and I wouldn't be shocked. I'd be surprised, wouldn't be shocked if they win this game. I still think when it's all said and done, the Patriots find a way to win this one, but I think it's going to be close, and I think this is the week you start to see the Rob Gronkowski injury kind of take its effect. Especially if you look at what happened, Martellus Bennett's dealing with some injuries, and he didn't look himself. And NESN.com's own Doug Kyde wrote in his film review this week that Bennett kind of stood out, and the lack of production stood out, and he also kind of just mailed it in on a couple run plays. So I think that's something to keep an eye on. Ravens defense, one of the best in the business, especially, if they can make you one-dimensional, they're in a good spot, and I think they can do that against the Patriots. I just don't know if LeGarrette Blount gets the run game going against a really good Baltimore defense that, for the most part, bottled up Ajayi. Patriots also without Danny Amendola. You just look at it just feels like one of those games where the Patriots, they win these games usually, but it's easier said than done. 3 of the last 5 matchups between these two teams have been decided by 4 or fewer points. Yeah. One game not included in that is a Baltimore win. So it's just 7 points is a lot in this spot, I think. So I'm taking the Ravens.
I like what you said. The Ravens, they're a good rush defense. They allow 3.4 yards per carry, best in the league. But the Patriots don't need to run the ball to win.
No, they don't, but they're also without 2 of their best pass catchers this week, and a third is banged up. And a fourth in Edelman has not necessarily looked himself this year.
I'm not ready to just say, I'm betting against the Patriots. I'm not ready to do that. Every time I do that, I lose. So I'm just going to stick with them.
Yeah.
This Brady, 1 interception this whole year. I don't see that changing after this next game. I don't know. I could see the Ravens always give the Patriots a problem, and the spread is pretty big. But at the same time, I think the Ravens still haven't impressed me. That win last week was nice. If you want to prove to me that you're a good team, go out there, do it again, prove me wrong. I'm going with the Patriots -7.
I'm not entirely sure how the Ravens scored, though. That's the other thing. So
they just kept throwing the Dennis Pitta.
Yeah, I know. I'm not.
Pitta bread.
They could have some trouble scoring this week too. So.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right, Ricky.
I don't know. I'm going with Mike with this one. I'm buying into the narratives, I guess.
It's one of those ones. Yeah,
you
right.
Know what I mean?
Yeah.
We can try and dissect it so many different ways and look at. You can look at your spreadsheets all you want.
Yeah.
But it's one of these ones where I'm buying into the narrative of the Patriots offense taking a step back a little bit with those injuries, most notably obviously being the Gronk one. It's easy to look extremely confident against the Rams.
And the 49ers and the Jets, their last 3 wins.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So this is really, it's kind of one of those show-me games for both teams. The Ravens, like you, Andre, you mentioned the fact that they beat up on crap teams this year. So they're coming off the most significant win. This is a chance for them to kind of assert themselves as that team in the AFC North. I think we're gearing towards a Week 16 showdown between the Ravens and Steelers. Probably going to decide that division. So I don't know. I'm taking the points because I just think that this is just one of those games. Monday night, 2 teams that traditionally have been there, play each other tough. I know that's not a very scientific way to look at this game, but I don't really.
Yeah, there is no science. I'm not putting any science in it. I'm just saying. All I'm saying is I'm not going against Tom Brady because every time I do, I lose. Okay. And I need to gain a game on both of you guys. I think it's a great opportunity to do so.
We do sit here and talk about how are the Ravens going to score in this game, which I think is a very valid question because their offense has sucked for the most part of the season. But that Patriots defense has its issues too. So I'm not going to sit here and rule out the possibility of Joe Flacco pulling a pretty decent game out of his behind, and all of a sudden, it's enough to it could be a backdoor cover. I don't know.
Right.
Yeah. Exactly.
Close enough.
And one of the big things that the Patriots did this past week was they made a rookie quarterback look bad, but they got after the quarterback finally.
Right.
You might not be able to do it against Baltimore. Baltimore's offensive line, despite the fact that they can't really score, has actually done a pretty good job of protecting Joe Flacco.
Really good this past week.
3.2 sack percentage. I think being sacked 3.2% of the time on dropbacks on the road. That's third in the NFL, third best in the NFL. So they keep him clean, and they keep him clean on the road. So I think that's another big spot.
Did you get that from Team Rankings?
Yeah, I did.
I love that site.
I do
Great
too.
site.
Speaking of sites I love, Oddshark has the Ravens as 4-1 straight up and 5-0 against the spread in their last 5 games on Monday night. Not sure what that means in the spot, but it's just
That's weird. They have a 3.2 sack percentage on the road, but their sack percentage overall is 6%. What are they doing at home?
I mean, I would imagine it's
wide
probably-
disparity.
I imagine it's matchup based, but
Browns crew.
but I mean, look at they kept him pretty clean this past week, and that was against a Miami team that's got a very good pass
Yeah.
rush. So, and I mean, look at what Miami
great
did the
team.
week before against San Francisco. Granted, it's a little bit different, but I mean, they have the playmakers on defense. So, yeah, I don't know. This is gonna be a great. This is I look at the schedule the week before, and it's like, oh man, this is gonna be a rough Tuesday morning because I know I'm gonna have to stay up and watch the Monday night game, and this
The
is
pass
gonna
rushes
be-
the Ravens have faced on the road: Browns, Jaguars, Jets, Cowboys, who don't have a pass rush, and the Giants, who are a good defensive team with a meh pass rush. So
Well, the Patriots didn't have a pass rush all year until
Yeah.
the last 2 games.
yeah,
All right,